Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's Wednesday, June 7th, 2017. As is always the case on Wednesday evenings, I'll be on truthfrequencyradio.com, have the weekly show every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. to midnight if you're on the East. If you're in between, you know your time zone. If you missed the show live, you can always listen to the archived episode at this page. I'll link it in the description. Tonight, because it's Game 3 of the NBA Finals and there's a lot of interest in gematria and the coding of these rigged sports games, for tonight's show, I'm going to dedicate it to all of the people who are following the work. I've been talking about how my blog fell to about 10,000 readers a day, where in the NFL season it's closer to 25,000. In the time of the NBA Finals, my blog stats have risen up to 30,000 views. So, I don't think my sports work is anywhere near the most important thing that I'm doing, but because there's so much interest, and it seems this is the way to wake people up, tonight's show, I'm going to be watching the NBA Finals on my computer monitor while doing the show and telling you what I see in real time, as if I was sitting on the couch with you, just exposing the rigging as it happens, as I see it when I watch myself. That won't be the whole show. We'll also cover what's going on in the news. We got the big story with Donald Trump and James Comey tomorrow, the showdown June 8th. Just like a boxing match today, James Comey put out a little bit of banter that's got the headlines burning. CNN's calling it the bombshell. Well, we'll talk about other things going on in the world, but tonight, the majority of the show is going to be about rigged sports. Hopefully the whole world listens. That's unlikely, but hopefully a lot of people listen and wake up to tonight's show. We're going to talk about all sorts of things, and I'll give you a little preview right here what's going to be on tonight's show. If you go to ESPN.com right now, you'll see this is the front page of their website. This is the front page story. I just took a screen capture of this. The story before Game 3 of the NBA Finals is Warriors would lose millions on sweep. So the team that's up 2-0, ESPN saying how much money could be lost if there's a sweep. And if you read the article, they say the amount lost would be $22 million. I don't know exactly how they figured this. I guess it would depend on what game it went to, right? But anyway, for the article, they said if there's a sweep, it would cost them $22 million. And if you're new to my channel, what I'm explaining is all this information that's given to us in the media, whether it's about sports or Donald Trump or a viral outbreak or a shooting or some terrorist attack, it's all coming from the same information source, which we call the papers, the magazines, the TV, but there's an entity behind this. And the people who control this are what are known as Kabbalists. This is a form of Jewish mysticism. Jewish mysticism rules the world of information as we get it. And there's a special belief about language to the Kabbalists, and that is God created the world when God merged the letter with the number through language. This is a belief of Kabbalah, and what this combining letters and numbers is called in this Jewish mysticism is gematria. And if you learn this language, you see how all of the numbers put before us for these stories that we read about, they're all numbers that have to do with the story itself. So here's the headline. How much would a sweep cost the Warriors? Try $22 million. Well, in the language of gematria, basketball equals 22, like sweep, like king. Could they sweep King James, who last year won the NBA Finals on the real King James's birthday, where in the language of gematria, King James sums to 89, and the Warriors lost with 89 on the real King James's birthday to King James, who won with 93 in the building Oracle Arena. Oracle Arena 93, very special number. Number representing Saturn, the keeper of time, very important to the occult, to the Kabbalists. So today is also June 7th, Game 3, the date of this article. Sweep. It sums to 67 as well. Like King, like West, the Warriors won the West with 67. If they win 16 games in the playoffs and win the finals, they'll win 83 games like the last year Philadelphia won, where the Warriors are originally from. Been talking about Bill Russell, who's 83. Watching out for Bill Russell. That said, is the article signaling that the Warriors will sweep? I presented a possibility this week why it might make a lot of sense for a June 9th sweep, the Warriors over the Cavs, humiliating the city of Cleveland yet again, as they've been done to so many times in the world of sports. Or is it saying that, there is too much money on the line and maybe the Cavs are going to win the next two? King James is going to even the series 2-2 with the next two games in his home city, Cleveland. So we're going to talk about this more. The over-under for this game is 227 points. The Warriors are 3.5-point favorites, even though it's in Cleveland. We've been talking about 35, kind of like 3.5. Kevin Durant, number 35. King James equals 35. The real King James became a Freemason at age 35. He died 23 years later at age 58. The word king alone is 23. Freemasonry is 58, like Rosicrucian. King James was a Rosicrucian and a Freemason. On Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the Warriors blew out the Cavs by 35 for their 35th win of the season. I said how that foreshadowed the NBA Finals, and maybe it was the Warriors' year. But I said you never know. Up to that point, I was favoring the Cavs to win this year, and now I've been torn ever since, back and forth like a teeter-totter. So don't take my word for it who's going to win, because I don't know. I'm just telling you what I do know and what I think based off it. But just because we know that the games are rigged, the same way a movie has an predetermined outcome no matter when you start to watch it, you know what I mean? When you turn on a movie, it's a story and you don't necessarily know what's going to happen at the end, but it's predetermined already. It was recorded a long time ago. You're just watching the movie for the first time. You don't know what's going to happen, but you can guess. That's how basketball is. That's how professional sports are. They're scripted, they're rigged, they're predetermined. But that doesn't necessarily mean you know the outcome. You can look at the clues and make an educated guess, though, which is what I do. And oftentimes pays a lot of dividends. Like how the last 3 years from the start of the season, I've said the finals would be Warriors and Cavs based off the clues left in the numbers. But when you get down to the championship, that's always when it's hardest because there's a lot of overlap. Anyhow, with regards to the over-under at 227, that's the 49th prime number. Warriors equals 49 like Revelation. Remember, they're originally from Philadelphia, the city named from the book of Revelation. Kevin Durant equals 49 like Washington. He's from Washington, D.C. The capital went from Philadelphia, eventually to D.C. after a short stop in New York. But 227, the 49th prime. These numbers, associations with the team. 35, 49. See my work last year on the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Warriors, and 227. See my work this year about the game February 27th, Warriors against Golden State, and a total score of 227 points. Talk about these same numbers again and again. Today's date, the date of the game, it's also a date with 23 numerology, and for the record, King and Sweep also have gematria of 23. If LeBron wins these NBA Finals, he will be 3 of his last 5 and 4 of his last 7. This is the 47th season for the Cavs. Ohio equals 47. So does Akron, Ohio, where he and Steph Curry were both born in the same hospital 39 months apart. Also where Nate Thurmond was born, who had his number 42 retired with both teams. That said, if LeBron loses, he'll be 3-5 all-time in the finals. If he finishes with a win, he'll be 4-4 all-time. Remember, chosen one equals 44, what's tattooed on his back. Showed that picture of him in video maybe a month back. From high school, he has on a George Gervin number 44 jersey for the Spurs. That doesn't mean he's going to finish 4-4. He just as well could finish 3-5. This is why it's so hard to call this year. King James 35, chosen one 44. But here's a clue. We've been talking about how baseball and basketball are scripted together. Last year, the Cavs in the playoffs playing the same cities that the Cleveland Indians were playing in the regular season. What are the odds of that? Astronomical. So unlikely. Yet in the world of sports, these things happen all the time. And fans are meant to go, ooh, coincidence. Remember how the NBA Finals began this year, or last season, last year, the World Series began between Cleveland and Chicago the same day the NBA season began, the 71st season of the NBA. It was a date with 71 numerology. It was the first time in 71 years the Cubs had been in the World Series. We saw Chicago sweep the Cavs this year. We see how Golden State has a little rivalry going with Jordan's Chicago Bulls, surpassing their win record, being debated as the greatest team of all time, like that Bulls team. We see LeBron James trying to surpass the legacy of Jordan, who people say is the greatest of all time, going 6-0 in championships, winning 3 and then 3 more. Remember, NBA Finals equals 33. The top 2 teams, Lakers and Celtics, they've won 33. But anyway, baseball, basketball, the world of sports scripted together. Last night, something very rare happened in Major League Baseball, June 6th. Cincinnati Reds in Ohio, the night before the first game of the NBA Finals in Ohio for this year. In this game, Scooter Gennett did something that has only happened 17 times in the history of Major League Baseball, even more rare than a perfect game, which is a very rare feat for a pitcher. For the 17th time, a player hit 4 home runs in a game. And with regards to it being 17-4, he plays for Cincinnati, which has gematria of 174. 17th time someone hit 4 home runs. This man has so many connections to LeBron James, who is the star player of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's just go over them. What I am wondering is this signaling the possibility that LeBron James is to win 4 straight games in the NBA Finals and another championship. A reason to think this, we're going to come back to this home run thing, but a reason to consider this is just after Game 1, Muhammad Ali's ex-wife came out and called LeBron James the Muhammad Ali of basketball. And in the language of gematria, Muhammad Ali sums to 42 like LeBron James. If you write out 42 as a word, it sums to 74, just like the name Muhammad. I explained in 2014 why we would see Muhammad Ali pass at 74. He died last year in the NBA Finals. I said that was a signal the Cavs would win the championship. Muhammad Ali became boxing champion in 64, the same year the city of Cleveland had last won a pro sports championship. And then just days later, Kimbo Slice died at age 42, born in 74. Muhammad Ali, born in 42, dead at 74. Anyhow, the reason this is interesting is because of Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, who had a trilogy. 3 fights, like the Warriors and Cavs are having a trilogy, as I said they would from the beginning of the season. You might recall after Game 1, there was a news story out of Manila, and I told everyone right away, this is New World Order propaganda. This is a tribute to the death of Muhammad Ali a year ago and LeBron James in the NBA Finals. And then after I said that, they came out and said this man was 42 years old, plus a whole lot more. Plus a whole lot more. Major tribute to Muhammad Ali. They said this man stole $113 million worth of poker chips. 113. Game 1 and Game 2. Warriors won with 113. Cavs lost with 113. Let's not forget the real King James was made King of Scotland on a date with 113 numerology. 113. He was the King of Scotland. Scottish equals 113. But anyhow, all of this stuff, all of this information, it is contrived propaganda, part of a narrative trying to clue us in. Joe Frazier won the first fight ever when he fought Muhammad Ali, but then he lost the next 2. Muhammad Ali came back and won the next 2, and here's what's weird about Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier died November 7th, 2011 in Philadelphia. He died in Philadelphia, right? The Warriors originally from Philadelphia. We see how the world of sports, when we understand this language, is a scripted, ongoing story full of ritual sacrifice for later tributes. Notice Golden State Warriors equals 117 like Ohio, like Akron. Remember, Curry and LeBron both born in Akron, Ohio, like Nate Thurmond. The Godfather equals 117, like how they've been calling LeBron James. Game 7 would be on Father's Day. Undertaker, also gematria of 117. Remember this shot of LeBron James, March 1st, at Boston, the only game he lost against them in the regular season, reading The Godfather, the story about it with the no smoking sign in the background, no smoking 117. I'm thinking about how after game 2, there's these rumors about weed smoke in the Cavs locker room. So anyhow, sorry, someone was trying to get my attention. So anyhow, 117, Joe Frazier dead November 7th in Philly, the original home of the Warriors, scripted sports, rituals, this thing with the trilogy. Let's not forget trilogy sums to 666 like the NBA Finals, like prophecy. But anyhow, in light of that, let's come back to this baseball player who hit 4 home runs, and we're asking if LeBron James could win 4 straight in the comeback. Before this man hit 4 home runs, Scooter Gennett, he had 38 career home runs. Finals equals 38. We've talked about this. 4 more put him at 42 last night. LeBron James has gematria of 42 like NBA Finals, like Bill Russell. Last year, LeBron, the first player to go to 6 straight finals since 66 when Bill Russell did it. Bill Russell equals 42. Bill Russell's 83 years old. The Warriors trying to get that 83rd win. When we decode this man's full name, you're going to see how his name sums to 216 like the Cleveland area code. Remember last year, Game 6, the last in Cleveland, combined 216 points. He did this accomplishment again last night, 4 home runs on June 6th, 6-6. LeBron James equals 166. LeBron alone equals 66. Notice the score of the game. They beat the Cardinals, who were held with 1 run, with 13 runs. 1-1-3, like the scores at the end of games 1 and 2. A number that I've been educating about alongside with NBA rigging since I started. When I first put out videos in 2014. Going back to my blog when it began in 2013. So again, this is the 17th man to hit 4 home runs. Cincinnati, 174. Number of the beast is 174, like New World Order. If you missed my video over the weekend about the record amount of Grand Slams, 7, that record was set on the 154th day of the year. In gematria, Grand Slam equals 154. Just like the name Doubleday, Abner Doubleday, the Freemason credited with the creation of baseball. Now remember this man who did it. He's born May 1st. He's born on May Day. He's 27 years old. Last night the Reds got their 27th win in this game. Remember, Cavs equals 27. Last year LeBron scored 27 in Game 7. Then 27 days later Nate Thurmond dropped dead at 74 like Ali. From his birthday to the game was 36 days. And in gematria, Cavaliers equals 36. The reflection of 36 is 63. Scooter Gennett equals 63 like Major League Baseball. June 3rd, the 154th day of the year, the day of the first no-hitter with the pitcher with the 63 name and the record amount of Grand Slams. Again, Grand Slam 154. 154th day of the year, plus it's June 3rd, Major League Baseball 63. We've seen all these tributes with baseball and the Cavs. Cavaliers equals 63, so does Cavs. And again, Cavs also sums to 27. So does MLB, so does baseball. The last name Gennett or Gennett, however you pronounce it. Sorry, I don't follow these sports leagues. I just know how they're scripted. I stopped watching these a long time ago because I saw they were rigged when I was a child. Anyhow, however you say this man's last name, the way it's spelled, it sums to 85, just like basketball, just like Curry. And let's not forget, Steph Curry, also from Cleveland, Ohio. Let's also not forget, Steve Kerr played for the Cleveland Cavaliers 25 years ago. Finals equals 25, Kerr equals 25. Steve Kerr wore the number 25. You know, there's just all this overlap this year. It's crazy. Also, the name Scooter alone sums to 94 like the word home run. Remember, a basketball court is 94 feet long because this is a number that's important to Freemasonry. When you write out 94 as a word, it sums to 147, like Freemason, like conspiracy, like World Series. Last year I used the Cubs' 94th win to project that they would win in Game 7 on November 2nd, 47 days later. And it was so. It was Miguel Montero who had the winning run, number 47, 47 days before Game 7. 47 degrees on the Freemason compass logo. Notice this man, Ryan Joseph Gennett, 216. 216, Cleveland area code. He's born on May 1st, Cincinnati 51. Talked about this number last year before the season began and why it was part of the reason the Cavs would win. Conspiracy gematria 51, also Cleveland, also LeBron James. Cincinnati also has the gematria of 66. This happened on June 6th. You know, don't tell me pro sports aren't scripted. If you don't think these guys can hit home runs on command, you must have never watched professional batting practice. So a couple more things. Here's why this study can be so frustrating. We just talked about these narratives with Joe Frazier and Philadelphia and Scooter Gennett. And here's another one. LeBron James, he just tied Magic Johnson's NBA Finals triple-double record 71 days before Magic Johnson turns 58. This is the 71st season of the NBA, and he tied the record 71 days before his 58th birthday. Triple-double equals 58. Magic Johnson's 57 right now. NBA Finals equals 57. Just like how last year the Cavs won 57 games in the regular season on the way to the championship. Magic Johnson, LeBron, similar players, big guards, passers. So anyway, Magic Johnson was swept 2 times in the NBA Finals. He was swept 2 times. LeBron's been swept once in 2007. He could get swept again this year. And I wanted to look at what 2 years Magic Johnson was swept. He was swept in the 82-83 season when Philadelphia last won. Remember, the Warriors win 83 games this year. It'll be like the last year Philly won, the original home of the Warriors, the city named from Revelation. We saw Moses Malone murdered by the numbers, synced up with the retirement of Kobe, which was connected to the Warriors' records last season. If you missed my work on Kobe and the Warriors to close out the 2015-16 season, you got to check it out. Important stuff. We're talking a lot about 113 back then. Moses Malone and Daryl Dawkins, both dead weeks apart, murdered by numbers. One at 58, the other at 60. But also the other year that Magic was swept was 89. 89. King James 89. Again, the Warriors went down with 89 on the real King James' birthday last year. Possibly what we're being clued in for, I talked about how the June 9th date, has everything to do with the sweep this year. I did a video on that, and I said that's why the Warriors might sweep the Cavs. But if I'm wrong, maybe the NBA really does have the ultimate script up its sleeve. Imagine that the Warriors win tonight, and the Cavs are down 3-0. I think it will be very likely that the Warriors do sweep. But if the Cavs win, you know, they really might have it planned this year that the Cavs are the first team to ever come back from being down 3-0. Last year, they were the 33rd team to be down 3-1, the first ever to come back. Cleveland and New York, the only cities with 33 gematria. This year, they're the 33rd team to be down 0-2. We'll see. We'll see. Kendrick Lamar, we talked about how his theme music is being used for the NBA Finals, or his album music's being used for the theme this year. There's an article from March 24th about how his lyrics seem to be taking a shot at Kevin Durant for leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the single is called "For." What we're asking is there going to be some sort of sweep? Are the Warriors going to sweep the Cavs? Are the Cavs going to be down in a great hole and come back and sweep the rest of the series? We're going to find out for sure. The point is, these games are scripted. The clues are everywhere. It goes to show that the music that's being manufactured, these artists, it's not all their own creativity. They're being given content to write, to sing about, so that it can be included in other planned entertainment propaganda like the NBA Finals. This is all a big circus that's meant to distract us. The people who control the media, they want our attention. The music, the movies, the sports. They want to control our mind's eye. Also, there's this story out of Akron, Ohio this week that got national attention. A 1-year-old getting some hands on an opiate and overdosing. Again, Akron's the city where LeBron and Steph Curry are from. If you read about this city, it has a meth and heroin problem like so many cities in America do right now. Those types of cities are all over the nation. But what's so suspicious about this story is that it happened on Gale Street, and we're so close to the anniversary of the death of Judy Garland, who said, "We're not in Kansas anymore," where basket became a popular sport. Gale Street is like Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz, who passes out in the opium field or the poppy field just before reaching the Emerald City, and then died supposedly at age 47 from a opiate overdose. In this real world, the Emerald City is Seattle, which is on the 47th parallel. Again, we're in the 47th season of the NBA, the modern era, 71st overall, 47th Cavs season. Ohio story about an opiate overdose. They couldn't have any more perfect numbers. They said that the call was at 6:30. We talked about 63. The woman's name, the same as Finals, Gale Street. They like to make fake news that nobody would suspect was fake because, for example, again, this is a story about Akron, Ohio, where they have this problem. I don't know how many 1-year-olds are dying, but this is what they do. They put out news stories that are rituals with their rig sports. By the way, The Wizard of Oz just turned 117 years old this year. We were talking about this number, how relevant it is to both the Warriors and Cavs. So anyway, I meant to make this video shorter, but hey, this was important information. I want to make sure it was clear to everyone. We'll talk about all this plus way more on the radio show tonight. The link for the radio show is in the description. This is the archived page. If you want to listen live, just up at the top of the screen, click Listen Live. What I recommend doing is going to the chat room. If you just click chat room, it'll play the show. Plus, you can see what people are posting in the chat room. And for the most part, it's a lot of helpful information. There's a lot of people who've made gematria memes, and they're sharing memes with visual representations of what I'm talking about while I'm talking about it. And I'm not asking any of these people to do this. It just goes to show more and more people are becoming independent, using their own creativity. And it's cool to see, that work showing up during the show in real time. So I appreciate everyone who contributes, and hopefully more people get in there and continue to do the same. But the chat room, a nice visual aid to what we'll be talking about. Ultimately, I want people to stop investing time and energy in these sports. I don't want my work to encourage people, even more people, to watch sports. It's just I want people to release themselves from the emotional investment that so many people make. They do not realize that these games are scripted theater, and It's darker than you know. It involves the murdering and ritual sacrifice of people, as we've covered so many times. And everything else. I mean, families have to give up a month's paycheck just to take their kid to the game. And they think they're getting legit entertainment. Children are wearing the names of these men on their backs, and they don't realize that these men are representing all that's wrong in the world. You know, selling everybody out for money. You don't go to your grave with money. You know? All right, Truth Seeker. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. if you're on the East Coast. You know where you are in between, outside of. And again, if you missed the show live, you can always listen to the archived episode for free up to 10 days after the show airs. Then, if you want to listen to older shows, you got to sign up. You can sign up for a month. Then you can go back and listen to every archived episode there ever was. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.